Hello everyone, I am Majesty, and welcome to my end of the internet where I voice opinions, express frustration, and commentate and hope that you find entertainment in it. If you like the video, please subscribe. Alright, now I'm a Zoomer. I was born in 2000, August 4th, 2000 to be exact, and I don't know what it was about that time back in the early 2000s that felt so vibrant, genuine, and I don't know, unified. And I can't say that I completely understand or know why, but for some odd reason the world decided to crumble to shit as soon as our generation started to become adults. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like people in this day and age have been more divided than they've been in a very, very long time. The US economy is taking a huge hit right now because of the political climate, and I feel like everything has become way too goddamn expensive. And to make matters worse, of course the job market is complete dog water now too. I'm currently working a dead-end job at a grocery store. I'm not gonna say which grocery store chain to save my, current employment until this takes off, but I absolutely f***ing hate it. My management is incompetent and bad at communicating. The customers are pretty much entitled and crazy, and I work in a big city, and it's a certain part of the big city where there are a lot of homeless and addictive people, and a lot of these addicts, they're usually using fentanyl or meth or something like that, and they come in the store and they try to steal stuff, and security always stops them, and they always get belligerent and argumentative with security when they could just leave or stuff like that, or they get violent with the staff and the associates and stuff, and it's definitely stressful. It's a really stressful and kind of toxic work environment. I mean, my new manager, we just got a new manager. My new manager is trying to make everything, I guess, a little more mellow and by the book, but not so by the book. Like, she's trying to keep everything, I guess, chill and cordial, but at the same time, it doesn't really do very much to help because the environment was already in pretty bad shape for a while before she even came in, and it's probably going to take a lot more than just her to get everything back in tip-top shape, or at least fix everything in this certain store that I'm working in. And for a while, they've kind of been cutting my hours and only giving me certain days of the week, at least probably 1 or 2, maybe even 3 days out of the week to work. And where I'm living, it's super expensive. That's not nowhere near enough to kind of make enough money to survive and pay rent and stuff like that, and it kind of had me fed up, and I tried to apply to a bunch of different other places, one place being Costco, and I heard that they had a more desirable minimum wage or rate of payout, and apparently they had a more friendly environment or friendly work environment, and I've applied there, and only maybe 1 out of the 5 stores that I applied to decided to give me an interview. I went, I completed everything. I'm completely qualified for the job. I made sure to answer all the questions to the best of my ability, and they seemed like they liked me and that everything I was telling them made sense, but I still got that dreaded email that I didn't get the job. That whole bullshit email where they're like, "Oh, we appreciate your we appreciate your interest in applying to our company, but we decided to go with other candidates." I fucking hated it. I was so pissed when I got that email. I was really hoping to get a different job and work somewhere that was at least a little bit better than where I'm currently working and that paid me a little bit more, but I guess it is what it is. I guess something worked out because my new manager, they fired a bunch of different people, and some people, I guess, quit randomly, and now they're giving me a little bit more hours, but the work is just so fucking stressful, and it is really tiring, and half the time that I'm doing the shit that I'm doing, even though it's just mostly cashiering and stuff like that, it's not that hard, but once you're standing there for hours on end, talking to many different people and dealing with a lot of different weird and frustrating and just odd personalities, and even people getting snappy and disrespectful and entitled with you, it is very soul crushing. Just last week I had this bitchy person come in, and I asked them, the question that I have to ask anyone, or that any cashier has to ask any customer while working behind the counter. "Hi, how are you today? How may I help you? Do you have our rewards cards or our savings card, or do you have a registration for our rewards for discounts and shit like that? And they didn't even answer me. They just walked over and started typing in their phone number or scanning their card or whatever. And once I got done with handling the entire transaction, I went to hand them their like receipt, and they literally snatched it from me, like just straight up snatched it from me, like I pissed them off or like I kicked their cat or something. They literally snatched the receipt from me and like stormed off, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this person's problem? What did I do to you? What did I do to deserve that? Like I don't understand what the purpose of that was. That was really rude and disrespectful. I literally just helped you out and bagged your groceries and scanned your groceries and everything else. Like, I'm literally providing you a service and you're just being a dick to me for no reason. And that's just the norm of just customer service. You know, that's what everyone deals with working in customer service. And I fucking hate it. That's not even the worst of my experiences. The worst thing that can happen during the day is just if some person from a different generation than you, or that's just simply older than you and think that they know more than you about some shit, or they are just entitled and act like they're in some way superior to you, or they can just talk to you however the fuck they want to, just treat you like shit while you're serving them. And a lot of the time your manager is just going to tell you to suck it up and deal with it. I mean, unless someone is like actually actively going to like hop over the counter and like put hands on you, there's just a very slim chance that your manager would tell you or tell them that they're wrong. You know, there's this thing where the customer is always right, and you kind of have to submit to that. But sometimes I do wish that we could create some policy, or that there would legally be some policy where you could stop a customer from being disrespectful to, I guess, minimum wage workers, because it is so annoying to have to deal with people who come in and, you know, they just have this sense of, you know, only getting what they want 24/7, and if they don't, they want to throw a hissy fit and bitch and moan, or just scream at you, or damn near start a whole fist fight with you about it. It's so annoying, and I feel like it should be a law to like at least create some kind of policy in the workplace to, you know, refuse service. I mean, I'm sure there are some places where you can refuse to serve someone for being belligerent. But I mean, I guess in a lot of the places that I've worked, I didn't really have that say so. I kind of just had to deal with it. I'll never forget when I first started working at my current job. Like, when I started my first job, I remember I was like at the end of the register helping the cashier that I was training with like bag. And this one douchebag like walked in, and he had this kind of like I don't know, arrogant demeanor, like overtly like confident. I don't know if it was fake confidence or overly confident in himself, you know, that, I don't know, that kind of like uppity white person kind of like attitude. And he kind of came in and he kind of looked at me, and I remember on this day exactly that I was having a rough ass week. I was having such a rough week, and I was dealing with a lot from my roommate at that time, and I was just super stressed out, and I was pissed off. And sometimes I don't realize, you know, my body language, because I'm a higher functioning autistic. I have Asperger's syndrome, so sometimes I don't really realize my own body language or the facial expressions that I'm making. So I must have looked kind of unhappy or pissed off. And this guy, he came up to me and he recognized my cashier, and he said hi to my cashier. And then he looked over at me and he's like, "Hi, what's your name?" "Okay, Majesty." "All right, Majesty, it's a fucking job. Get used to it. Some people don't have one. Just be happy that you have one." I mean, that's not exactly how he said it, but either way, like, I guess that's what he meant. But he was a total douche about it, and I did not need that kind of lecture that day, because I was just having a really shitty day. And my initial response in my head was, what the fuck, dude? What the hell is your problem? Why would you, what? But what came out was, "Okay, man, where do you work?" And he's like, "Oh, I work in the restaurant industry." Like, the guy, I guess the guy thought I was trying to like figure out where he worked so I could come in and give him shit. But genuinely, I just wanted to see what kind of job he had for him to come in and, you know, talk down on me as if I'm, I don't know, an idiot or some shit. And that's another thing. I really hate when like people that are older than me, like it doesn't matter if it's boomers or millennials, like at the end of the day, like all of them are kind of acting the same. Like anybody outside of like Gen Z these days, they always think that they know better than us because they've been here longer than us. And it's so frustrating when someone that's like older than me comes in and they like talk down on me in the middle of, you know, me helping them out and doing what they're asking me to do. And it's just like, sometimes I really wish I could just look at them and just tell them to shut the fuck up and just, you know, just take their groceries and get the fuck out and leave me alone. Because like, you know, no one needs to deal with any of that, but you know, it's a job, you know, it's, you know, that's something you really can't do on the job. You'd get in trouble. And I mean, I've gotten in trouble before for like cursing people out on the job because, you know, sometimes I can't really, you know, there are some instances where I can handle myself and there are some instances where the person is just that fucking ridiculously disrespectful that I kind of, you know, match their energy. And some, you know, and I'll be honest, like sometimes at this job I got away with doing that too, but I don't do it as badly as I used to at my first few jobs. Either way, it's just like dealing with people working customer service jobs is just absolutely fucking insane and just ridiculous. And I'm over it all. But overall, like everything in this generation, I feel like has kind of like everything in this generation just kind of feels watered down. I don't know what changed now and then. Maybe it's just like everything is a fucking cash grab now. Like mostly everything that gaming developers release to consumers these days are cash grabs and doesn't feel as genuinely creative and innovative as they used to be back in the early 2000s. Music these days, like most people who get into the music industry, they're all just trying to make money and just say random shit over a nice beat and make money from it. I just overall feel like in a lot of different industries and overall in a lot of different like spaces in this time, like everything just feels like disingenuous and mostly fueled by the desire to get rich and make as much money from it as humanly possible. Like no one's really creative anymore. No one's really trying to make anything that's super unique or super like special anymore, and it's just all about money now, and that's it. And honestly, I mean, why wouldn't it be? Like everything is 20 times more expensive now. You gotta damn near pull out a personal loan just to buy a carton of fucking eggs. Housing prices and the cost of living have totally and completely skyrocketed, and no one can barely afford to buy their own houses now. Millions of people are moving back in with their parents and trying to make ends meet by any means necessary. I'm even noticing that there's an uprise and a more common usage by customers at the grocery store that I work at who use the government funding WIC to pay for a lot of their groceries. And, you know, no one can really afford anything right now. And we have nothing but billionaires in office, in political office right now, and they don't want to do anything to help the country or the economy whatsoever. And it's just an absolute shit show right now, and no one really knows what to make of it at this time. And it's just insane. And I feel like me and most other Zoomers kind of have it the worst right now. And whenever we seek out advice from other people, it's all kind of scattered. Everyone kind of has different things to say. Some people can kind of be helpful about how to, you know, survive as an adult, how to make it in life, and some other people, they just don't know what they're talking about because they're not in our shoes. And, you know, the boomers, they're always, oh, just work hard and everything will pay off. Literally working in this day and age kind of doesn't get you barely anything right now. Like literally, as I said earlier, we can barely afford eggs as is. Like most people can barely afford eggs. Most people can't afford their own homes. I'm about 24 and a half years old, and I feel like I've gone nowhere in my life. And sometimes I would pick up my phone and start scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or some shit, and I would see like people my age or slightly older already in relationships, or some other people that are slightly my age and older who have more money, or, you know, that are like making something of their lives, like traveling the world and shit like that with their model girlfriend or boyfriend or some shit. And, you know, here I am like in my bedroom, like broke as hell in a shared living arrangement, super depressed, preparing for work at my dead-end job tomorrow and contemplating jacking off. I mean, it's just I'm sure I'm not the only one here experiencing that kind of livelihood at the moment. And to anyone else out there that's experiencing this or dealing with hardships in life that are similar to mine, I want you to know that you're not alone. And I'm rooting for you, and continue to persevere. Things will get better. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like, and feel free to comment any opinions you may have down below.